We're going to start. All right. We're going to start rewarding the people who show up early on time. Candy? Would you want candy? A listing appointment? Okay. An energy drink? I like that. Yeah, well, today you're going to get rewarded with some notes I took from John Maxwell over the weekend, or over last week. Got to sit in a room with a bunch of awesome people and get inspired. Denise was there with her husband, Roger. It was a phenomenal week. Would love it. Bring y'all with us sometime. All you got to do is say yes.
Yes.
Yes. That's all. And sign up and pay the money.
Oh, that part.
Oh, that part. But if money wasn't an issue, would you be there? Of course. All right. So let's figure out how money's not an issue for you then. Right? Because I'm guessing if it's an issue for you to say yes to things you want, just like a simple class, then it's also getting your way somewhere else.
Just say yes.
Just say yes. Yeah. Doors open when you say yes, right, Joaquin? Mm-hmm. And let's welcome back Joaquin. Yay! We'll get more people in here. They'll filter in, but I'm going to share with you a few things that John Maxwell shared with us. And he said 5 things to focus on. It's like this is like a daily challenge for you. So if you want, you can write them down, or once I finish typing up my notes, I'll post them on our Facebook page. Is that fair?
Yes.
And then you'll have them. So these are things that you can put before you and put behind you. There's 5 things to put before you and put behind you. Number 1 is put behind you what you can't do. Put before you what you can do. Can't moan and lead at the same time. Let me say that again, Dennis.
Ants moaning.
You can't moan and lead at the same time. A fact of life is that you can't fix everything you put your energy into. There's some things you just can't control. So don't waste your energy. Focus on what you can do. Right? These times right we're in right now, is there a lot of stuff out there that we cannot control?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. And so, but we do get to decide where we want to put our energy and focus on the things that we can control. Number 2, put behind you fear and put before you courage. Who needs a little more courage?
I do.
Courage expands. This is important. Courage expands and fear. When courage expands, fear shrinks. We have 2 emotions, positive and negative. The stronger of the 2 will always win. You don't always have to make decisions, but you always have to take action. So sometimes, maybe not anybody here in this room, but sometimes when you're feeling and you're being indecisive, I want you to remember that you can take action at the same time. You have to move your feet. That does take courage to move your feet. Only action will reveal what you need to know next. So when you're indecisive, move your feet, take action, and by doing that, your next move, what you should do, will be revealed to you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. When you're in a holding pattern, nothing happens. If you wait to see what will happen, nothing will happen. Nothing. So number 3 is put behind you intensity. Put before you consistency. Is that good?
Yes.
Chris, you gonna struggle with that one? Struggle bus? Yeah.
Christopher.
Put behind you intensity. Why would he say that? Burnout? Can you maintain intensity over
No,
time?
no, you're stressed out, you're
Right.
intense, nothing's clear.
And you can't have that same intensity again tomorrow, probably because you don't have the energy for it. Can you be consistent? Yes, you can. So we overestimate intensity and we underestimate consistency. Consistently realizes, thank you, Denise, the right time to get you the right result. Somebody needs to eat, and it's okay with
Should we
me.
have lunch?
Oh.
Consistency.
She brought snacks for everyone.
Yes, consistency compounds for you. For you. If you are persistent, you will get what you want. But if you're consistent, you'll keep it. Momentum is the result of many pushes. Excellence is a result of many practices. Do I need to say that again, Chris? Oh, you've got a puzzled look on your face. Momentum is the result of many pushes, right? Push to get momentum to go, right? And then excellence is the result of many practices. Have you ever been encouraged by somebody that's complaining?
Yep.
Just a thought.
To be not like that.
I think
Just
I'm
a
right,
thought.
yeah. I think not.
Right. So put behind you, number 4 is put behind you complaining and put before you gratitude.
Mhm.
Number 5 is put behind you low and middle road leadership and put before you high road leadership. What's high road leadership?
You always-
Example.
Well, I was gonna say, can I say something about Susan real quick? Because I feel like Susan always exemplifies that for us when she's up here and she talks about the things that we can do in terms of the decisions that we make, right? You always tell us to choose the higher road. You don't say that in specific verbiage, but you always get us to that level of thinking higher than what's happening.
I love that.
Sorry.
Who else had an answer to that?
I was just gonna say it's taken the high road, but it would have been easy to,
Do you have an example?
somebody did something to screw you up, screw you over, whatever, and you decide to just ignore it and take the high road, which means you just let it go, because you can't change what they did.
I actually have a great example, and I shared this in coaching. Susan was sharing with us the fire agency agreement, and Howard asked the question, what if the other agent doesn't check the box that says pay as offered? What do we do as agents when the other agent makes a mistake that's going to get them not paid? Susan looked at all of us and said, this isn't gotcha real estate, we use the culture, you do the right thing. And that for me was an absolutely my favorite moment of the whole year, because in 1 second, you exemplified how we are as an agency. You are the head of our ship, and you said, this isn't gotcha real estate, we do the right thing. That's taking the high road.
Love it.
There's an example. Thank you. I try to say.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So we're gonna do these little leadership things for anybody who's here early. You're gonna get it, and nobody else is gonna get it.
Where did you get those? I just want to ask who I want to know what that was.
This was a conversation we had with John Maxwell at an
Oh.
event that we were at last week. So
Oh.
Diana's More event, Becoming More event, he was there. Yeah. And it was so good to sit in a room with him again. It's been a while. And I don't know about you, but when you can sit in a room with a leader who's calling all of us up to be leaders, I can't help but bring this back to you guys, because the world needs leadership right now. It's very difficult to find it. And we need to be the leaders in our industry. We need to be the leaders in our families. We need to be leaders with our friendships. We need to be leaders. And leaders get developed over time. Everybody has the potential to lead. Leadership's not a positional thing. Everybody leads. Question, is anyone following you?
Susan, I'm in church.
Question is, yes. All right. So that's my little tidbit for the day. Get you thinking. I mean, if you were a fly on the wall, my family is decided to talk to you.
Oh, boy.
Sorry, did you have his list of
I
the?
do.
Oh, okay, I didn't know.
We're gonna go into it, or we have a.
We have a schedule, but.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, how about if you and I do that next week? We'll go into the rest of the story.
I'd love to have.
Yeah?
I like the little.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna, so be here early next week, and we'll start this way. Okay.
Yeah, your thing.
Oh, what are we doing there? You guys are, yes, I guess I'm leading, because you're following, that's great, I love it. Okay, so this brings us to what drives and guides us every day, right? That's kind of a perfect segue. A focus. When you look at that, what do you see?
Smudge.
What jumps out at you?
She just seems really happy and passionate about whatever she's getting ready to say.
Guidelines,
Guidelines,
how to live the day
how to live the day.
and every day.
Yep. John's new book, he wrote the foreword, he dedicated the book to her, to Mo Anderson.
What's the
So
name of the book?
I wrote leadership. That's what we're going to be discussing next week. So stay tuned. Denise and I are going to cover it all. TCPA, when you see that, you think, high road, do the right thing. I won't call anybody on the do not call list, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Keep going. All right, Susan, your turn.
Somebody yawned just now.
That's
not allowed. Not allowed.
Mr. Man right there. Let's call him out.
Uh-oh, we need to get you some coffee, staff. Okay,
It's stitches.
we're gonna talk a little bit about fair housing today. Before I dive into this, I just want to touch on advertising again, because every day for the last several days, I've gotten basically the same question. I've got a listing, we're getting it ready, and maybe the buyer might have a representative, an agent, the buyer might not, but depending on who's asking the question. But can I just show it, now, because they're really interested and my seller wants to show it, and would that be a problem?
Yep.
Yes.
Huge problem, huge problem. MLS is finding people every month thousands of dollars for promoting a property before it's listed. Showing is a form of promotion. Okay, so just don't do it. Is my comment on that.
I have a quick question. So, it made me think of it because of what you're saying. We have the option to go onto the MLS with an unlisted property. So how does that work then if they don't want us?
So, well, say it's a FISBO. There are a couple of exceptions to the rule for inputting a property to the MLS. One is if it's a FISBO, so you've got a seller hasn't listed their property, maybe you represent the buyer, say. In the other instance, it's called selling to an identified buyer. And in that case, you've got a seller who doesn't want to put their property on the open market. I want to sell my house to my grandson because I'm moving to assisted living. We want to sell the lot in between our house and the neighbor's house because the neighbor really wants it to graze their pony on, whatever. We've already got a buyer. We need you to represent us. So in that case, you would use a Form 47, which is called seller representation, sale to identified buyer, instead of a Form 1A. Those are the two exceptions where you don't have to input a listing.
So when the seller already has a buyer.
When the seller already has a buyer or has already identified a buyer. So,
Okay, so I had an interesting scenario of the weekend where I saw a sign go up in my neighborhood. It's not listed. So I reached out to the agent and I said, hey, I saw your new listing. What is it priced at? And their first question, are you an agent or a buyer? I disclosed who I was, and then they stopped responding to me. Cut to 24 hours later, the sign was still there, and so I just reminded them if they were going to be listing it or not. And I noticed the sign was then gone a couple hours after that. But my question is, what is the appropriate response for us? This is not an agent in our office. I did not report them at the time. I just had reached out. So what is the appropriate way for us to go about that when we do notice violations like that? I certainly don't want to.
it's your choice. You're always welcome to consult with me on it.
Okay.
But that is a clear violation of MLS Rule 2C, and there is a discipline complaint form, I believe it's 180, that you could do. MLS isn't driving around. They're not looking at all the websites and stuff.
Yeah.
It's other brokers who are reporting these violations. So depending on how serious or if it's a repeat offender or, you know, it's your option to report that, certainly.
Okay.
Travis?
Why would it be a problem if Chris and I are talking in the hallway, he tells me what kind of buyer he's got? And I'm like, oh, I got a property coming on soon that might be fit. If we do a 47, they get them to see it. Why is that a problem?
If your seller has an identified buyer that they want to sell to, then it would be a problem. But be careful.
Be careful.
Here's an example of how ridiculous it's gotten. Somebody was pressure washing a driveway. Didn't show the house, didn't show anything, but took a photo of that and put it on Facebook. And they got in trouble because that's considered marketing before it's ready. Saying, I've got a house coming, getting it ready. That was it.
And they addressed this, in fact, at the MLS meeting that I went to yesterday. It was in meeting. They did it. And the idea.
It doesn't matter.
It didn't have
It's
a-
showing that you've got something coming.
And it's eliciting them to contact you. Right. To say, oh, where is that property? You know, so the MLS considers that a form of promotion. And
So
they will impose a fine on you.
why wouldn't someone respond and say, that's my personal property?
Well, that's how I.
And how are you gonna prove it?
That's how I'd respond, because your own personal property, you can
That's true.
do that.
And a seller who wants to market their own property.
So that's the workaround, just have your
When
seller
it's
post
not
it, and
listed.
then can you share
They
that?
can
with
put it on their
your-
Facebook page, they can put a sign up there, they can show it to the neighbor.
Oh, yeah, untagged stuff.
As agents, we can't do that before it's listed.
So then would you recommend that your seller, so if it's a picture of your face, would you tell your seller, hey, white out my face and put a smiley face over my face while I'm pressure washing your driveway? I mean,
Yeah.
No, the seller,
The seller can do whatever they
They can
want.
post whatever they want.
On
They
their
can
own
post you in the yard, getting it ready if they want.
You said
But
that they
the
can't
seller
tag
doing
you
it, not
though,
you.
right?
What?
The seller can't tag you though,
They
you
can
can
tag
tag
you,
you
just
that
don't share it.
untagged.
No, as long as you're not posting it, you're fine.
It's,
If
you
it's on your
can't
wall.
post, the seller can do what they want
The
with their
seller
own property.
could make the post and tag us.
Just don't
Yeah,
share it.
Yeah.
On your wall.
Done.
You can't show
Work
on your
around
wall, like on your page.
So I have a question.
How can you
So-
control that though?
You can't. On
In
my-
most
on my
MLSs,
page, I
I'm
can
sure we've all seen this, in most MLSs around the country, coming soon is a normal part of the process. So if this is such a giant issue and it's our MLS and we own it, why can't we petition like in?
That's what I was gonna say.
There, you
How do we
can,
change
you,
this?
they do take,
Okay, so it's been going,
input.
well, 17 years it's been this way and it's never, everybody's like, well, we can petition it, we can do all these things. Well, I've been a member of MLS for 17 years and it hasn't happened. So
How
if
many
it can all
times
be
have you
done,
asked?
my question is, how do we go about that process instead of arguing about this? in their office?
I'm gonna tell you why, because it takes a leader.
Right?
Do it, Aaron.
That's
Well, it's either,
Good answer.
my thing is, it's either we follow the rules and not whine about it in the office meetings, because it's obvious that you can't do that. So it's pretty obvious whether it's right or wrong. you can't do it right now. So we either argue about it in the office meetings all the time, or we get it changed, because I just referred to listing in Arizona, in Casa Grande, Arizona, and sure enough, as soon as the listing agreement is signed, as long as it's within 30 days, the whole sign, the yard arm's already in the yard, with a big rider that says coming soon, it's just part of their process, right?
I understand. So we are different in that we are a broker-owned MLS, and you could definitely provide that input to the MLS. I will say that the philosophy behind this rule is to have as complete a database as possible for us all to use.
Correct, I know the rules basically,
And that's
every agent's supposed to have
one-
equal opportunity to sell every listing in
Right.
MLS, we're a co-op.
And
So that's the
yes,
reason.
and if we're just gonna tell people on a website or, we're not gonna promote it on the MLS, you can see how it would lessen the effectiveness of the MLS as a tool.
We're trying to protect the sellers from getting, they're trying to make sure the seller gets the most they can possibly get by making sure that the most amount of people see it. That's all it is.
Of course.
And that's always the best argument for putting a property on the open market as opposed to selling it, to an identified individual without listing it, because then you're in a competitive situation when it's on the open market.
Back to that rule. Did that fine go through on a person's
Yeah, I don't-
pressure washing? Because
Yes,
because
I don't know
that's
how
not
much it was. Do you know?
They
That's
don't
not the
publish them
rule,
right
though.
away.
The rule is promoting a specific property. You're not promoting a property.
If you go and listen to, what was it? You were on the same thing?
Justin Hay.
Yeah,
talked
Justin
about it
Hay.
yesterday.
He was talking about it.
Because the rule is, I mean, I could be standing outside and I'm just saying, hey, I've got this great, I guess maybe you say upcoming listing, maybe that's the issue. But if you just say, hey, we're doing some work on a house.
Correct, that's the key. Don't say I have
That is
it
the key.
upcoming.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
say, hey,
yeah, there
I'll
may
fix
have
someone
been
clean a
people who
house.
are saying, oh, I was just showing what a good job my pressure washing guy was doing.
Correct, that's fine.
Yeah.
I just thought
I don't
as
think
long
that's
as you're
gonna
not
really
putting
get you off the hook.
address and information around that particular property, you're not promoting.
They don't care, because I got in trouble for a thing that we tried fighting with Susan a couple of times, I just gave up on it, it was a $1,000 fine. It was a deal that a wholesaler had, and all I said is like, yep, we have a deal, and all I did was connect an agent and an MLS, or from the website, with the wholesaler, and I got fined for it. I don't even know the seller, I don't even have a listing agreement, it's not on my listing, I don't have any, all I did was say, hey, we're looking for this buyer, and somebody sent me this deal, and I was just trying to help, like, hey, my buyer doesn't want to buy it, it's off market, I connected it, and I tried fighting it for a couple months, multiple emails, hours and hours, and I said, you know what, it literally was like talking to a robot. Because they kept coming back, saying, here's the rule, and it's like, we didn't violate any of the rules, and then at some point, I was just like, you know what, Susan? Pay the $2,000, charge me, let's move on. Because this is just, it made no sense.
To get more mileage out of figuring out how do you remove or replace the people that make the rules at the Northwest MLS.
That's a topic for another day.
Like, do you have a choice other than the Northwest MLS, or that's the MLS in the area? So you
That
don't
is
really
our
have-
MLS. We
So-
don't have another MLS to choose from.
Only on the east side.
Okay. Do you want me to save this for next time? Wait, yeah.
You will shut that down.
We'll save that for next time.
Yes.
We'll talk about love letters.
Oh, are those back?
I need to hear.
Are they back?
What?
They're back.
Yeah.
Oh, they're lovely.
All right, what are we grateful for?
Yeah, Susan. Son.
I'm gonna get yours.
Your coach?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that one.
Love that. That's great.
Grateful for leadership.
Yes. I'm grateful for leadership too. All right. Oh my gosh, look at these three up here. Denise Christopherson, Travis Morris, and Edgar. Come on up.
Chair.
Oh, no, there's three.
That's how we do it, we break the, don't shave, and we break the rules.
You probably need to separate you two.
That's a great
Oh,
idea.
skeleton out. Are they gonna fight?
Skeleton out.
We've been known to.
Oh.
questions. You guys prepared for these questions? Did you listen to yourself prepared?
I'm gonna wing it.
You're being-
I didn't read the questions.
Okay, good. All right, so you're not gonna be surprised. All right, let me ask you guys a question. It's not on this list.
Ooh.
Do you currently have, are you currently carrying enough listings?
No.
How do you know?
Focus, I'm not carrying. Here. I know I need to be carrying at least 7 listings.
Right, Denise?
Same answer.
Same answer. Do you know how many you need to carry at all times?
About 4.
4?
4 listings at always to have 6 pendings at all times to hit my goals.
Why did I ask that question?
To see if they knew their numbers.
So give me your numbers. Good job, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
I know, John did that. Put a sock in you. Dennis.
Okay, so let me ask you this question then. What strategies do you use to generate new listing leads? What's your top 2?
Database and so referrals, as I said, and influence wire.
Mine's just database and networking community events.
Edgar?
It'd be database repeat clients, but a lot of it this year is not the same. Last year was a lot of the business was from transactions were created through investors, so flippers primarily. Creating opportunities, finding transactions that then come back a listing within 6 months or less.
Okay, so what did you guys just learn from that question?
Database.
Database.
Is your database?
Database. That's it. Okay, so can you explain your process for converting cold leads into listings?
All of, I mean, so it depends on how you meet them, right?
Give me a scenario.
Door knocking, cancel expires. The door knock, somebody meet them. Maybe they're not ready now, but we have a good conversation. Like, you know what, we decided to hang tight for whatever reason. Great. No matter who you're talking to, it's about setting the expectations for the next time that you're going to communicate. So whether it's a warm person I'm talking to or a cold person, really the process doesn't change. I'm like, great. Would it be appropriate for me to follow up with you in 6 months or 3 months or whatever? Whatever they told me, you know. If they're like, yeah, if they don't have a definitive date, it's like 3 to 5 years, they're gonna do something great. Would it be cool if I stayed in touch with you every 6 to 12 weeks? Say hi, see how you're doing. Almost everybody says absolutely. So now I've told them how I'm gonna, and I usually will say, great, I'll send, I'm gonna put you on my newsletter and send that out twice a month, and I'll give you a call as well. I get sign off from them that I'm gonna do that. I just do.
How do you remind yourself?
I mean, just put in a task, just say, whatever date from there on, like, okay, call this person, check in, take a note so that I remember. I try to also get something, especially on a cold lead, when I'm talking to them, something personal that I can, like, it would indicate, oh, we did talk. Because they're getting a million, especially kids with spiders, they're getting a lot of interactions with people. And so when I call them, like, hey Dennis, this is Travis. We talked a few months ago. How's your mom doing? Said that she was, sick. How's your brother doing? Or how are your kids? You said that you were thinking about maybe looking at doing something once the kids graduated this year. I try to get something, or you were on your way to a golf tournament. It's just something that I can reflect back on. That even if we don't talk about that specific thing in the moment, they're like, oh, I must have talked to this dude. Most of those cold leads, they don't remember the first conversation.
That's right. All right, Edgar, what you got?
What was the question?
I knew that was coming.
Converting cold leads.
Yes.
So I want to get in front of them ASAP. Usually I do a 2-step CMA, a 2-step market analysis on all of my listings. So the first initial conversation is going to be anywhere between 15 to 30 minutes. I just want to get into the house, look at the condition, and the whole script to that is for me to give you the accurate value of this home. versus Zillow and Redfin online is they don't know the condition, right? Have you spent $50,000 on upgrading your kitchen, remodeling something? And that shows them that, hey, I'm gonna come and I'm actually put the energy in it, and that has helped me a lot when I get the business meeting other agents, where the times I went there, they see like you care more because you're just willing to go out there. And I also just convert way better in person versus over the phone. So that's another reason. And again, I want to be there in their house. Nothing about listing paperwork, nothing about price, and then just figure out, see the house, give them an accurate number, and then see. That's what I'll ask. Are they interviewing anybody else? What is their status? Just ask enough questions and really listen and try to create a solution to their problem. And then from there, I usually want to go back within 24 hours to 48 hours with my market analysis. And I explain to them why, because a lot of times they want to know the price that moment. And that tells me, well, they already have their mother, sister, cousin who's going to discount it and already is going to list it, but they just want a true professional's opinion of the value. And I learned, through the years on what to give him, what not to give him, enough to keep him interested, but not all of the cards. And then, of course, follow-up is a huge opportunity for me. That's something I'm still struggling. I actually just lost a list. Well, I say I lost a listing, but I didn't really lose it. It was an expired that was referred to me in September, October. They didn't sell. I got a hold of them over Christmas time. They said they're going to sell in June, July. I followed up in like January. She said, yep, we're still waiting. And it just came on the market a couple of weeks ago. So it's like, okay, should have been every month, could have done something differently.
That's what I was gonna ask. What do you think you would have done differently knowing that now?
I tried not pushing too much on them as much as I usually push, because they were a referral from multiple other clients that I've sold. So I almost was like, there's their relationship, but I should have known she never called me originally. So there was a reason. And she went with somebody else who, not that they're doing something better or worse, but looking at the price now, it's like it's going to sell. And it did. It went pending in 4 days. So now I'm just like, I should have called her more often, or actually pushed on it more to get into the house like I usually do. But I'm trying to not be as aggressive as I used to. So it's like,
I mean, could you have set up the expectation for more communication? Knowing that a seller will say to you, I'm gonna sell 6 months from now, I'm gonna sell 9 months from now. What would be the expectation you could set up with the seller?
the expectation was every month I had a notification. The difference was I called her November, December, and Christmas time. She didn't answer. In January, she actually responded for once. So I didn't want to do that again next month, because I'm like, okay, I don't want to piss her off, right? It's like, okay, she ignored me for 3 months. She finally responded. So I was like, okay, let me actually check with her in a couple months. But,
The other thing, the one thing, because I had the same thing happen to me not too long ago. Going back to the referral, like, so when you have that conversation, because you probably, like me, had an inclination that that could happen. I did when it happened to me. I was like, I don't know, maybe you're trusting them at what I'm saying. You're
a dropping guard.
Yeah. But there was still an inclination of like, that's probably not the case. Going back to the referral partner or the referrer and saying, hey, I just talked to so-and-so, because I always like to update them anyways. I get the sense that maybe they might go a different direction. I just want them to at least interview me. Even if they're going to interview somebody else, that's great. But I know, you know what I do, so-and-so. Could you just put a bug in their ear? Because I'd hate for them to go through the same process again. In my situation, they're listed again. 3 days, if the agent would have waited 3 days, it would have been a brand new listing. But instead, they didn't wait 3 days. They listed it again. Days on market continued, and it's still sitting there.
Same agent or different agent?
Different agent.
Okay, because she told me she's using the same one. And she actually did not use the same one as well, even though she's like, I'm most likely going to be going with that same agent. And I was like, cool. Can I just come and look at the house and give you another opinion? And yeah.
Yes. Denise.
So I'm primarily referral and repeat business. So I don't do a lot with Bold. I think I had one Bold client last year out of everybody. But building the rapport on the phone is a big one if I'm not meeting them randomly. So I spend as much time as I can. I try to research them beforehand before I get on the phone. So Google them, LinkedIn, Facebook. So I get a little info about who they are and what might be important to them, and try to find out, ask a lot of questions about their situation before and build the rapport, and then set the expectation for what the next follow-up will be.
So this isn't on the list either, question, but as I'm sitting here, I'm wondering about you guys. How many of you guys are heavy on the list side of your business currently? And so you're dealing with listings. Because everybody else is, you've got a heavier buyer side business then? Yes. Yes. Okay. When did you guys make the shift? And how did you make the shift from going buy sides to, you know, that 50-50 ratio and then or 60-40 listings buyers? Like, at what point in your business did you make that shift? Was it organic or did you on purpose do it?
For me, it was, so I joined my wife. She was very buyer heavy. And I came from a cold call background. So I was like, I'm about to go get this listing. So I mean, MREA, listings, leverage, you know, you gotta have listings. Listings control, you have more control over your business with listings. And I mean, shout out to my buyers, they're great, but I don't love hating my buyers. I just don't. I want to do 100 listings a year, not I think just refer my buyers up. Like, I don't care about buyers. I really don't. And it's, for me, it's just a passion thing. I enjoy taking everyday homes and turning them into top dollar listings. I enjoy that process.
Is that Italian?
Yeah. It's one of them. Yeah, but I do. I enjoy the process of transforming a home, and especially if it's canceled expired. Gosh, it's so awesome. I've sold 100% of all the canceled expired that I've ever listed, and like almost all of them for one in the same one. That's fun.
Yeah. So from an idea or standpoint of how you bring value, all the things, did you hear all the things he said that he brings as far as value goes? I hope you have those written down. I'm sure you do.
Oh, 100%. That's my list.
All right, good. I love that. All right. So same question, Denise.
Question, sorry, now I forgot.
At what point in your business did you go from, because here's the thing, this market, you guys do need to get your unfair share of listings. And so if you're sitting on the side of the buyer business, life is going to be a little tougher for you. So how do you intentionally do that? And what did you do to intentionally get in the way of listings?
It might have been unintentional for me. I primarily worked with buyers when I started, and Pam has a story about that. I didn't want to do listings. I went and sat in their office and I said, I was like, who can I refer listings to? That was very early on in the process, in the first couple of years. So then as I started to do listings, it just was a natural evolution, and I love project management and being resourceful and connecting the dots on things. And so I just found that I really enjoyed the listings and I was good at it. I love the transformation process also, seeing what we start with and what we end with and getting the good results for people. So it's just like, I don't know, I love managing multiple things at once and knocking things out and being a resource for people to get things done.
What was the hump that you had to get over though? Like what was the reluctance to do listings? Did you finally like you got to kind of shift?
What was I thought I had to sell myself more with listings, and with buyers I felt that it was just an easier connection from the beginning, and with sellers I felt like I had to sit there and do a presentation. So I had to switch that in my mind, and it's not, I'm not selling anything, I'm not presenting everything is a conversation and asking questions.
For some reason, I feel like depends on what the market is doing, I have the opposite. So when it's easier with buyers, I have listings. When it's easier with listings, I have a ton of buyers. So it's like somehow, I don't know why, it's always like I'm always winning the multiple offers with the clients and other agents when it's tougher. Because I think just value and going above and beyond. Because I swear, like right now, I'm just like, man, I want buyers like September to November. I carried way more listings than I did in like a year and a half in just 3 months and the market sucked. I was like, I need buyers, right? It didn't suck, but it sucked to what we're used to just the previous 6 months or 12 months. Then all of a sudden they all sell in December and January, right? The market picks up and I'm like, oh, I have the best January of my career so far. And then I get listings and things are or buyers are starting to come back, and all of a sudden it's like 5 offers on everything else. So for some reason, I can't say I'm controlling it or I'm doing something differently. What I do know is I tried to get in front of what the market is doing. So I thought like 2 years ago, I had 26 buyers and 14 listings was the business or something. And I felt like the market was way easier for buyers. So I worked hard, the results were there. Right now, I feel like it takes a true professional, not in the last 3 weeks with listings, because all of a sudden things are selling for 100,000 over again. But I feel like last year it was tough to price homes. You really had to understand what you're doing and everything else. So really understanding what the market is doing and who you're getting in front of when you're competing. I am competing on every client, it seems like, with multiple agents. It doesn't matter even if they're referrals. Like for me personally, it's been getting way harder in the last 12 months than I would say in the previous 5 years. So it is challenging, but consistency, hard work, outworking, providing value, asking the better questions, making it about them, is helping the results just show up.
The value thing. I think buyer agents for a long time got away. Not everybody is different, but a lot of buyer agents didn't have to provide value. They didn't have to convince a buyer to say, if they like you, they meet you at an open house and they like you, you're in. That was easy. Sellers were more intimidating for a lot of people because they're more likely to interview more than one agent. And it's just not like buyers, like, it's fun, let's go shopping. Well, now with the new rules that are coming, it's like you have to provide value. So there's no difference, really. You have to be able to, it's not even provide value. Most of you are providing value. It's communicating that value to say, this is why you should hire me instead of. And now you're going to have to start doing that with buyers if you hadn't been doing that before, and it's really different with sellers. So
well, it's doing something that most can't, right? That's the value.
That's right.
There's a ton of good agents out there. There's a ton of people that will do well and deal with things and write an offer, but it's what is their issue, the problem. This house turn into a rental, and they give you 3-4 referrals in 30 days.
Yep.
So was it better to just get that one listing because you wanted it, or actually really solve their problem, which is we want to get a bigger house and move closer to whatever, but it doesn't make sense to give up that low rate of that. My parents are in this situation and we're talking with them right now. It's like your mortgage is $1,200, but you can rent for $4,000 your house. Let's use that $3,000 difference and buy your new home. That's going to be a $5,000 mortgage that they're like, hell no, we're not doing that. But I'm like, right, but you take this $3,000 and really that's $2,000 mortgage. And it's like, nope, we don't see it. So, we're trying to look at it from analytically the point. And it's just like, and I'm like, Mom, why would you sell this house of this 3.2% rate you guys have? It's free money, right? Like, leave it. Nope, we're going to sell it. We're going to buy that Rambler. It's like, all right, well, I can't. You can't. In 2 years, right? Some people just won't get it.
But that's, Ed, you're right on. Focusing on what the client's needs are and not the deal.
Yeah.
It's not the deal. The deal maybe will materialize on it. I never go into any listing appointment or buyer appointment thinking about the deal. I never assume that we're going to even sell something or buy something. I first look at what is it that they are trying to accomplish. And I think that's why we did it. I mean, I get referrals, people who've never done business with us because we did that with them.
Yeah, I think not being attached to the outcome.
That's right.
So that you can keep their best interest in mind when you're working with them. And be prepared for anything. When I go into an appointment, I try to have as much, I don't know if we're still on the topic or not, but yep. Be prepared with as much information so when you get there, you can focus on the things that are important to them and you can be ready with anything. So that's really helped. And I did have a couple of situations last year where it was think one that was one of 13 people they had interviewed, and one was one of 5. Yeah.
Did you get the listings?
Yes.
Yes, you got it listed.
Yeah, that's what it
Would you tell us the story if you did not get the listings?
What's that?
Would you tell us the story if you did not get the listings?
Well, I mean, sometimes you learn. Did you grab them, right? No, I'm kidding. Yeah, okay, so what is your value proposition? Like, very succinctly, what is it that you do? I say, to you, I would love you to come and talk to me about this in my home. What's your value conversation? How are you articulating?
I mean, I think it depends on how the conversation is going, because again, I'm gonna speak, my value of honesty is depending on what you're telling me you're looking for. So I'm gonna ask some specific questions first. Sometimes you don't get that opportunity. Sometimes it's just like a high level, like, what's your commission conversation? It's like, when you have that, I never say, here's my commission. I tell them the truth, which is, well, I've got different commission options for you. And I'd love to talk to you about those. Just had that conversation. But I'm not allowed to actually tell people what I charge anymore. That's illegal for some reason. But I always get what I'm looking for. I can't.
It is kind of weird.
It's
No,
not
you
in-house.
can't.
Not in-house.
In-house, it's okay.
You can't talk to other agents about.
Outside agents, outside agents.
Or inside for that matter, because we're all independent
But I
contractors.
can say
Who
here,
can you talk to about
Yes,
your
you can say
commission?
it here.
Only you.
Oh.
but can I say here what I charge people? Was that not?
Tell
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
look at Susan and tell Susan what you charge.
Nobody else is here.
Susan, since you asked me what I charge.
Charges based on the level of service that you expect to receive.
Are any of you guys moving towards that menu of services?
Only as a conversation piece. It's not real. It's like, because here's the deal, I don't know how to do my job half-ass. I just don't. I tried to come up with this menu of service things where I could offer at a lower commission rate that would be quote unquote more competitive. And I look at, and it is to the standard of what I see other agents doing that offer at that percentage level. And I'm like, I can't get conscious. I just don't know how to do it. I don't know how to shut off. So I just am like, here's everything I do. This is my standard. I do have a premium. And I'm like, here's the added percentage for that, what I do here. And they may or may not do that or qualify for that, but I can't discount it.
Well, I do think that there is a common wisdom about our marketplace, and that is that generally you get what you pay for.
That's right.
And that's true if you're buying a white blouse and you want to get it from Nordstrom or you want to get it from Target. Okay, there's going to be a big difference in that experience and in the quality and
that's right.
in the value.
Well, and I tell them as part of the value prop, I head off the conversations. I talk to them about MLS for owners. I talk to them about Redfin. So I come in like a consultant. I'm like, here are the options you have to list your house. Here are the 3 things that are going to cause your house to sell or not to sell. Audience, which is exposure, presentation of the home, what it looks like, pictures, blah, blah, and then price. These 2 things are going to negatively impact or positively impact this 3rd thing. With these other options, you're going to have a challenge with these things, and this is why. So the percentages that you might save, you're going to probably lose in price, blah, blah, blah. So we talked through all that. And that's, I think when you head it off, if you can, like I just had this, they didn't want to meet with me until I told them my commission. I skirted around it, got the meeting, then they signed the listing paperwork. No problem, full commission, but I wanted because we had that conversation. If you can't have that conversation, if somebody's really, really pressing me on it, I'll say, hey, if commission is the most important thing for you and you're not looking for any other value and it's the only thing, I would refer you to MLS for owners or Redfin. I mean, they're a lot cheaper. There's some discount brokers out there.
Can I clarify something? So I think like the menu of services, I don't think it's related to any kind of pricing or structure or discount. It's basically, this is what I provide and because I think you have a menu of services.
I have 2, I have 2. Yes,
right.
I do. I have 2 options. What I was referring to is like trying to get like basic, gold, or silver, gold, platinum, like, and there was no silver.
The reality
It's
is
all
that-
gold or platinum.
Here's why video services works, is because adults love options.
Yeah.
That's why it works. So.
Whatever the lower is.
What are your two options?
Well, my standard option is, I don't have a ton of time going into it, but standard option is everything I just normally do for a listing, which I do a lot of connecting with contractors, and most people will refer contractors, I connect. You know, I chase them, because even the good ones suck at communication. So I connect, I schedule all that, but I don't manage the project of whatever they're doing. If they're gonna want me to manage it, basically I'm like a general contractor. Some other paperwork they need to fill out for that, which protects me and them. And then I charge an extra 1% to some people. Some people literally hand me the keys and be like, "Do your thing, man." And basically we flip the house for them. And then that's what that other service.
Oh, so you charge an extra 1% for managing that stuff.
For managing that, yeah, because they're too, it's just too stressful. And I'm like, yeah, I'll talk to you in 3 weeks. When you see the pictures.
Oh, that does create a lot of liability.
That's why
We
we
need
have.
to, if anybody else he's already got some paperwork in place that provides some indemnification language. But if
Yes.
you're gonna be acting as a general contractor for a client, you better come talk to me.
Yeah. True story, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so, yeah, value, you know, why would somebody want to hire you to list their home?
Why wouldn't they?
Exactly.
So I tailor, our processes and what he's talking about is almost identical to what I do. So, so I just connect with the client, find out what's important to them. And that's what I present is the value. So I don't have anything that's cookie cutter. I want people to know that I can customize my service to make sure that things work the best outcome for them. And that if we need to be flexible, we can be flexible. And I just make sure that they know that usually one of the biggest things for people is communication and follow-up. So if I know that I'll kind of bring certain things up in conversation that I know are pain points, and then I can say, you know, that won't ever be something you have to worry about with me. You know, consistency and details and communication is something that, you know, people give me high regard for. I'll also point them to reviews and things like that, so I can let other people do the selling for me by pointing out reviews that other clients have posted, and that takes it off of me, and I can keep it above it.
I think going back to just asking better questions with every seller is it just selling what's important? Because like Travis says, if they're talking about the compensation, the number, the figure, and they just want a discount and all that, then it ends really quickly with me now where I just don't think we're a good fit, right? If that's all you're focused on, it doesn't matter if I sell your house for $1 million over value, it doesn't matter because clearly you're stuck on this thing. So it's finding out what are they looking for? Are they looking for the fastest sale? Are they moving out of state? Are they, downsizing? Are they trying to be contingent? Are they trying to net the most money because they need that, which then I can bring in with my value prop is helping you guys declutter the house, helping you guys stage the house, helping you guys fix the house, flip the house, remodel the house, do as little as you want or as much as you want. Like Travis said, we beat a team that's been in the industry for 30 plus years that I thought had no chance originally, especially when the mom says, I've known him for 44 years from the church, right? I'm like, oh shit, this is just a waste of time. But I was like, you know what, let's go, let's do it. And we did win the team, we were the chosen one and it's been great. And the biggest reason was because I went there 3 times and that person wasn't willing to go there 3 times. They went there once before anything was signed and was basically saying like, I don't need to go back there to meet your daughters and the son and all that. But the mom was 84 years old, right? And I'm just like, daughter's helping, son's helping. I put myself in their shoes. I would want somebody there, right? So just again, asking what was important to them. And this listing, we ended up selling it. It's been like, we're their rock stars. I actually ended up charging the highest I've ever charged for a listing. My fees have been going up in the last 12 months. I've charged full compensation, whatever it was before. in the last 12 months more than I have in the previous 7 years ever. And it's not because of how great I am, but it's really, again, figuring out what is important to them. Because what I showed them was I sold their house almost 14% more than they expected. So what I charged them, which was 1 or 1.5 or 2% more than anybody else, I paid 6-7 times that.
That's right.
Right? So knowing my numbers, knowing InfoSparks and understanding what are my numbers compared to Redfin, compared to competition, knowing who the competition was and seeing when she told me it's important that this person lives in the neighborhood and it's important for that person to be, when I looked at the stats and I'm like, I sold 14 houses within a 5-mile radius, they've sold 3. So are you really, and I mean, again, it's understanding the competition, but it started with the questions, really making it about them, what was important, being strategic on it and providing the data. And then it's not selling on me. It's literally just showing the facts and then versus saying how great we are, because I used to be all about how great I am and what I can do and all that, and it turned a lot of people off, where now if you just show them the stuff, they make the decision and somehow you're the rock star at the end of the day.
I think the takeaway is a good approach to, by putting it out there that you may not be the best fit, for everybody, I'll do that too and say, this is how,
I've been trying to fire people and somehow they want to work with me more after I'm just like, you should go with somebody else. And like, no, and I'm like, literally, Susan knows, the one would just close 5 months later. Like I offered to pay her $10,000 to let me out. Like, I'm like, ma'am, I'll pay you your fee.
Right.
Just please let me go.
We gotta wrap this up.
What you're saying is the value proposition is you can show them stats. That show, and you're showing this by, here's the list price, here's what I'm getting above list price. This is my average. So is that a big part of the value proposition along with the not referrals, what are they called? Testimonials. And then testimonials on Google, where are they?
Yeah, Google and Zillow, we have over 100 of them between the two of them.
So let me ask you
I
a
have Google
question.
and Realtor.
3 quick things. Well, what did you hear these guys say? 3 quick things.
Database.
What else?
Know your numbers.
Communication.
Caring. No, you're
Last
caring.
question.
Great question.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. You guys are awesome. Woo! Thank you. Debbie, come on up.
Hurry.
I was like that yesterday because it worked out.
I wish I could say I worked out, and that's why I'm limping, no. I just wanted to carry on for a minute. The value class that was last week that Gary Teller sat there and go, we do these things every single day, Debbie, helping these back and forth of the lender or the agent, but that we needed a piece of. And so the value